Welcome to Story Tales. Please like this video and subscribe to Story Tales. I hope you enjoy the story. Let's begin. The crystal chandeliers of Derek Thorne's mansion cast a harsh light on the crowd below. Noah Whitaker stood at the edge of the room, a glass of sparkling water in his hand. Unlike the other guests who wore designer suits and dresses that cost more than his car, Noah wore a simple navy blazer over a white button-down shirt, clean and pressed, but nowhere near the caliber expected at such an event. He watched his wife Marla from across the room. She glittered in her red designer dress, moving from group to group, her laughter rising above the classical music. 7 years of marriage, and sometimes Noah still couldn't believe she had chosen him. Though lately he understood why. Quite the affair, a server said, offering Noah a canopy. "My brother-in-law never does anything halfway," Noah replied. Taking one, he scanned the room, noting the small details: the imported flowers, the hired orchestra, the waitstaff wearing matching bow ties. Derek had spared no expense for his sister's 33rd birthday party. Noah knew he couldn't compete, and he hadn't tried to. Marla spotted him and waved him over. Her smile was tight, practiced. As Noah approached, he noticed the champagne glass in her hand was nearly empty, her third of the evening. "There you are," she said, her voice sweet but her eyes narrow. "I was just telling everyone how you've been so busy with your freelance work that you barely had time to help plan tonight." The group around her, all Thorne family friends, gave him tight smiles. Noah knew what they saw: the quiet, unimpressive husband who had somehow managed to marry into their social circle. "I wanted tonight to be your vision," Noah said simply. "And it is." Marla gestured expansively. "Derek has been amazing, handling all the details I couldn't trust anyone else with." She shot Noah a look, "Though I'm still waiting to see what gift my husband got me. Something special, I hope." The circle grew quiet. Noah felt their eyes on him. This was intentional, Marla putting him on the spot, knowing full well they hadn't discussed gifts because she'd told him weeks ago she didn't want anything from him. "I have something," Noah said, "but it's not wrapped." Marla's perfectly plucked eyebrows rose. "Well, now I'm intrigued. What is it? A trip? Jewelry?" She glanced at her friends. Though we all know Noah's budget. The jab stung, but Noah's expression remained neutral. "I'll give it to you during the presentation." "Oh, don't be such a downer," she said, emptying her glass. "You can give it to me now." A server appeared with fresh champagne. Marla took a glass, managing to avoid eye contact with Noah as she did so. "Now, where were we?" Marla continued, turning toward the group. "Oh yes, I was telling everyone about the foundation gala next month. Derek's donating a substantial amount. Aren't you, Dee?" Noah watched his brother-in-law puff up. Derek Thorne, with his 2 white teeth and artificially tanned skin, clapped Noah on the shoulder hard enough to make him step forward. "That's right. The Thorne family believes in giving back," Derek said, his voice carrying to nearby conversations. "How's that little app of yours coming along, Noah? Making any money yet?" Before Noah could respond, Derek continued, "My sister deserves the world. Always has. It's why we worry about her, you know." The implication wasn't lost on anyone in the circle. "The app launches next quarter," Noah said evenly. "It's an educational tool for high schools." "Ah, still hanging on to your teaching days." Derek laughed. "Some people just can't move forward, can they?" The orchestra shifted to a new song, faster and brighter. A server announced dinner would be served in 15 minutes. The crowd began migrating toward the dining hall. "Let's get this gift business over with," Marla said, grabbing Noah's elbow and steering him to a quiet corner. When they were somewhat private, her smile vanished. "Please tell me you actually got me something. I can't handle another embarrassment from you tonight." Noah reached into his inner jacket pocket and pulled out a simple white envelope. Marla stared at it, her shoulders dropping. "An envelope? Are you serious?" "Open it later," Noah said. "No, I'll open it now," she said, snatching it from his hand. "What is this? A gift card to some discount store? Or worse, one of your handwritten poems?" The opening notes of "Happy Birthday" rang through the hall. Derek's voice boomed through a microphone, calling for Marla to come to the center of the room. "This is my moment," Marla hissed, tucking the envelope into her clutch. Try to look happy for once. As she walked away, Noah watched her shoulders straighten, her public persona slipping back into place. She waved to the crowd, blowing kisses as she approached her brother. Noah followed at a distance, taking his place at the edge of the circle forming around Marla. He observed as she hugged Derek, kissed his cheek, and turned to face her audience. "Thank you all for coming tonight." Marla's voice carried clear and strong. "Having all of you here means the world to me." Waiters wheeled in a massive cake, decorated with edible gold and fresh flowers. Derek handed Marla another glass of champagne, and she raised it high. "To family," she said, "and to always moving up in the world." The crowd cheered. Marla's eyes found Noah's for a brief moment, then darted away. "And now," Derek said into the microphone, "it's time for gifts." He gestured to a table piled high with wrapped packages. "My sister deserves only the best, and I know some of us." He looked directly at Noah. "Might not be able to provide that, but that's what big brothers are for, right?" The crowd laughed. Noah felt heat rise to his face, but kept his expression neutral. "Speaking of gifts," Marla said, the alcohol making her bold, "my husband gave me this." She pulled the envelope from her clutch and held it up. "Shall we see what Noah thinks is appropriate for a 33rd birthday?" Noah hadn't expected this, not here, not now. He had planned for her to open it in private after the party. But perhaps this was better. Marla tore open the envelope with manicured nails. Her eyes scanned the contents, and the blood drained from her face. She looked up at Noah, then back at the envelope. "What is it, sis?" Derek asked, still speaking into the microphone. Marla's hands trembled. She stuffed the papers back into the envelope. "Just paperwork. For a surprise coming soon." Her voice had lost its confidence. Noah met her gaze across the crowd. For the first time in years, he saw fear in her eyes. "Well, that's disappointing," Derek laughed. "Let's move on to real gifts, shall we?" As the attention shifted away from her, Marla excused herself and rushed toward the bathroom. Noah didn't follow. He knew what she had seen, and he knew what would come next. The party continued around him. Cake was cut. Gifts were opened. Toasts were made. Noah stood in the same spot, drinking his sparkling water, watching as his wife eventually returned with freshly applied makeup and a slightly unsteady gait. For the rest of the evening, she didn't look at him once. 3 years earlier, Noah sat beside his father's hospital bed, watching the steady rise and fall of the old man's chest. The cancer had ravaged him quickly, too quickly for Noah to properly prepare. The monitors beeped softly in the sterile room. "You should go home and rest," the night nurse said as she checked his father's vitals. "We'll call if anything changes." Noah shook his head. "I'll stay." When the nurse left, Noah leaned forward and placed his hand over his father's. William Whitaker's skin felt like tissue paper, fragile and thin. "I'm here, Dad," he whispered. His father's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, they seemed clear and focused. "Noah." His voice was barely audible. "The house. Keep the house." "Don't worry about that now," Noah said. "Save your strength." William's fingers twitched against Noah's. "Promise me." "I promise, Dad. The house stays in the family." His father's eyes drifted closed again, but his breathing seemed calmer. Noah heard the click of heels in the hallway before Marla appeared in the doorway. Her face showed appropriate concern, but her body language spoke of impatience. "Any change?" she asked, remaining in the doorway. Noah shook his head. "The doctor says it's just a matter of days now." Marla sighed and entered the room, standing behind Noah's chair. She placed a hand on his shoulder, but the gesture felt perfunctory. "Have you given any thought to what we discussed?" she asked. Noah tensed. "This isn't the time, Marla. I know it's difficult," she continued, lowering her voice, "but we need to be practical. That house is worth a small fortune now, especially with the new development going in nearby. We could finally move into something more suitable." Noah turned to look at her. "My father built that house with his own hands. It's where I grew up." "It's also falling apart," Marla said. "The repairs alone would eat up any profit we might make from selling it." "I'm not selling." Marla's fingers dug slightly into his shoulder. "I'm just trying to help us plan for the future. Your father would want that." Noah looked back at his sleeping father. "He just made me promise to keep the house." He's on heavy medication, Noah. He doesn't know what he's saying. A soft monitor alarm beeped, and a nurse hurried in. Noah, and Marla stepped back as she adjusted something on his father's floor. Everything's fine, the nurse assured them. His oxygen dropped a bit, but we've corrected it. When they were alone again, Marla checked her watch. I have to go. Derek's picking me up for the charity board meeting. Noah nodded, not taking his eyes off his father. Will you be home tonight? She asked. No. Marla hesitated in the doorway. Noah, I know this is hard, but life goes on. We need to think about our future. Noah didn't respond. After a moment, he heard her heels clicking away down the corridor. 2 days later, William Whitaker died peacefully in his sleep. Noah was holding his hand when it happened. The funeral was small but dignified. Noah's students sent flowers. His colleagues from the high school came, offering condolences and casseroles. Marla stood beside him at the cemetery, her arm linked through his, the perfect picture of a supportive wife. Derek gave a speech at the reception, talking about William as though they had been close. Noah let him. It didn't matter. That night, alone in his childhood home, Noah descended into the basement. His father had always been organized, methodical. Every tool hung in its proper place on the pegboard wall. Every box was labeled. Noah found a small safe behind a false panel in the utility room. He knew the combination his mother's birthday. A bitter choice, given that she had abandoned them when Noah was 14. Inside the safe, he found 3 items. A stack of World War II war bonds his grandfather had purchased, an oval dated 5 years earlier, and a cassette tape in a plastic case labeled, "Listen only when you're ready." Noah set the tape aside. He wasn't ready. Not yet. 6 months after the funeral, Noah resigned from his teaching position. The principal tried to talk him out of it. You're one of our best, Noah, she said. The students connect with you. I need time, Noah explained. And I want to finish the educational app I've been developing. I could do more good that way, reach more students. The real reason was simpler. He couldn't bear to leave his father's house empty all day. Couldn't stand the thought of Marla hiring contractors to modernize. While he was gone, he took freelance work editing academic papers and developing online curricula. The pay was less than his teaching salary, but it was enough. The house was paid off, and his needs were simple. Marla was not pleased. This is career suicide, she said over dinner. Freelancing is for college kids and failures. Noah served himself a small portion of the pasta he'd made. It's temporary. That's what everyone says. Marla pushed her plate away. Derek says he can get you a job at the corporate office. Something in HR or marketing. I'm not interested in working for Derek. Marla's eyes narrowed. What is your problem with my brother? He's only trying to help. I don't need his help. Clearly you do. She gestured around the kitchen with its dated appliances and worn countertops. Look at where we're living, Noah. My friends won't even come over anymore. They think we're poor. We're not poor. We're not rich either, Marla snapped. And we could be, if you just sell this museum. Noah put down his fork. I promised my father I'd keep the house. Your father is dead. The words hung in the air between them. Noah stood up and took his plate to the sink. I have work to finish, he said quietly. As he left the kitchen, he heard Marla's phone chime with a text message. She answered immediately, her voice shifting to something lighter, happier. Over the next few months, Noah noticed the changes. Marla came home later. She spent more weekends at spa retreats with friends he'd never met. Her texts were guarded. Her laughter, once so freely given, was now reserved for phone calls she took in another room. He found the first evidence in April. A receipt for dinner at an upscale restaurant downtown, dated on a night Marla had claimed to be working late. 2 entrees, 2 desserts, a bottle of expensive champagne. Noah placed the receipt back exactly where he'd found it in the pocket of her coat. He said nothing. In June, he saw them together. He'd gone downtown to meet with a potential client, a local tech startup interested in educational software. After the meeting, he decided to walk through the park before heading home. That's when he spotted the Marla and Trey Maddox, sitting close on a bench by the duck pond. Trey's arm was around her shoulders. Her head rested against him. They weren't kissing, but the intimacy was undeniable. Noah ducked behind a tree before they saw him. He watched them for several minutes. They talked, laughed, checked their phones. Normal things. Affair things. That night, Marla came home with takeout from Noah's favorite Thai restaurant. I thought we deserved a treat, she said, setting the table with actual napkins instead of paper towels. Noah noted the effort to ease her guilt. How was your day? He asked. Boring. Just meetings and more meetings. She arranged the food containers between them. How about you? I went downtown. Had a meeting with Horizon Tech. Her hands paused briefly in their arrangement of the food. Oh, how did that go? Well, I think they're interested in the app. She relaxed. That's great, honey. They ate in relative silence. Marla talked about an article she'd read. Noah mentioned a problem he was trying to solve in his code. Normal conversation, as if he hadn't seen her with another man just hours earlier. After dinner, Noah went to the basement. He opened the safe and took out the cassette tape. He still wasn't ready to listen, but he was getting closer. Instead, he examined the war bonds. Their face value was modest, but according to his research, their current worth was significant, over $750,000. His grandfather had purchased them in 1943, and his father had kept them safe all these years. Noah carefully returned the bonds to the safe. Then he took out a notebook and began to write. Not poetry, as Marla had mocked, but a plan. The sound of hushed voices woke Noah from a light sleep. He glanced at the clock. 1:17 a.m. Marla's side of the bed was empty. He slipped out from under the covers and padded silently down the hallway. The voices grew clearer as he approached the kitchen. You need to be patient, Marla was saying. These things take time. A man's voice responded, too low for Noah to make out the words. I know, Marla continued. But he's stubborn about the house. If I push too hard, he'll get suspicious. Noah stepped into the doorway. Marla stood by the counter, her phone pressed to her ear. When she saw Noah, she flinched. I have to go, she said quickly into the phone. Yes, tomorrow. Bye. She ended the call and set her phone down, trying to appear casual. Did I wake you? I couldn't sleep. Who were you talking to at 1 a.m? Noah asked, already knowing the answer. Just Ellie from work, Marla said, walking to the refrigerator. She's going through a rough patch with her husband. Needed someone to talk to. Noah watched her pour a glass of water, noted the slight tremor in her hand. At 1 a.m? That's when crises happen, Noah. Marla took a sip of water. Not everyone keeps banker's hours like you do. I heard you mention the house. Marla's expression hardened. Are you spying on me now? I was asleep until your conversation woke me up. Well, if you must know, yes, we were talking about houses. Ellie's thinking of selling hers after the divorce. Marla set her glass down harder than necessary. Is the interrogation over? Can I go back to trying to help my friend now? Noah studied her face, the defensive angle of her chin, the way her eyes wouldn't quite meet his. You know you could talk to me about anything, right? Something flickered across Marla's face, guilt, perhaps, or irritation. There's nothing to talk about. Go back to bed. Noah turned to leave, then paused. I saw Trey Maddox at the coffee shop yesterday. He asked about you. He watched her carefully. For a split second, panic crossed her features before she controlled it. Oh, her voice was a touch too high. That's nice. I haven't seen Trey in ages. The lies settled between them like a physical thing. Good night, Marla. Noah returned to bed, but didn't sleep. He listened as Marla moved around the kitchen for another half hour before finally coming back to the bedroom. She slipped under the covers on the far side of the bed, careful not to touch him. The next day, Noah went to the basement again. This time, he took out the cassette tape. He found his father's old tape player in a box of electronics and plugged it in. His father's voice filled the small basement room, slightly distorted by the aging recorder, but unmistakable. Noah, if you're listening to this, I'm gone, and you're facing a difficult decision. A cough. Then his father continued. I've watched you and Marla over the past few years. She's changed, son. Or maybe she was always this way, and I didn't want to see it. Noah sat on an old wooden stool, gripping the edge of his father's workbench. The house isn't just a house, his father's voice continued. It's a test. I told you to keep it because I wanted to see if she would support you, even when it wasn't in her best interest. A marriage should be stronger than ambition. Another cough, longer this time. In the will, I've left everything to you. The bonds, the house, everything. Use it wisely, son. And remember what I always told you. Never let them forget who you are. Burn every bridge if it lights your way. The recording ended. Noah sat in silence for several minutes before rewinding the tape and putting it back in its case. He returned it to the safe, along with the will. That weekend, Marla announced she was going to visit her college roommate in Chicago. It's just for 3 days, she said, packing carefully folded clothes into a weekend bag. You'll hardly notice I'm gone. Noah leaned against the bedroom doorframe. Give Cynthia my best. Marla's hands stilled momentarily. I will. Noah knew Cynthia had moved to Australia 2 years ago. He also knew that Trey Maddox was attending a fitness industry conference in Chicago that same weekend. He'd seen the announcement on Derek's social media page. Need a ride to the airport? Noah offered. No, I've got an Uber coming. Marla zipped her bag closed. I've left some meal prep in the fridge. Try to eat something besides cereal while I'm gone. When the Uber arrived, Noah carried her bag to the car. He kissed her cheek as she got in. She smelled like expensive perfume more than she usually wore for a casual trip. Had a good time, he said. Her smile was tight. Thanks. Don't forget to water the plants. As the car pulled away, Noah took out his phone and opened the banking app. He transferred $100,000 from their joint savings account to his personal account, leaving just enough to cover the next month's expenses. Then he went to see Zadie. Zadie's tattoo parlor was in the Arts District, a small but clean shop with her artwork covering every wall. When Noah walked in, she was finishing a detailed rose on a young woman's shoulder. Almost done, hon, Zadie told her client. You're taking it like a champ. She glanced up and spotted Noah. Her face broke into a genuine smile, something Noah hadn't seen directed at him in a long time. Well, look what the cat dragged in, she said. Have a seat, stranger. I'll be right with you. Noah settled into the worn leather couch in the waiting area. He watched Zadie work, her hands steady and sure. Her purple hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, revealing the tattoos that started at her neck and disappeared under her tank top. 20 minutes later, Zadie finished with her client, gave aftercare instructions, and collected payment. When they were alone, she locked the front door and flipped the sign to closed. Coffee, she offered, heading to a small kitchenette in the back. Or something stronger. You look like you could use it. Coffee's fine, Noah said, following her. Zadie put a pod in the machine and turned to face him, leaning against the counter. Spill it, Noah. You've got that look. What look? The one you had in 10th grade when Jimmy Daltrey stole your science project and you didn't tell anyone. The one that says you're plotting something. Noah almost smiled. Zadie had always been able to read him better than anyone else. Marla's having an affair, he said simply. Zadie didn't look surprised. With who? Trey Maddox, Derek's business partner. That slimy gym rat. Zadie snorted. Honey, you can do better blindfolded. The coffee machine beeped. Zadie handed Noah a steaming mug and poured herself one. What are you going to do? She asked. I need to set up a shell company, Noah said. Something untraceable. Zadie's eyebrows shot up. Whoa, slow down. You're not thinking of doing anything illegal, are you? Because orange is definitely not your color. Nothing illegal. I just need to protect my assets while I figure out my next move. And why come to me? I'm an artist, not a financial advisor. Noah sipped his coffee. Because you know people. People who understand discretion. Zadie studied him over the rim of her mug. This is about the house, isn't it? She's still pushing you to sell, among other things. Zadie set down her mug and crossed her arms. What aren't you telling me, Noah? I found some war bonds in my father's safe. They're worth quite a bit now. Define quite a bit. Around $750,000. Zadie's eyes widened. Holy shit. Does she know? Noah shook his head. No one knows except you and me. And you want to invest it without her finding out. Zadie nodded slowly. I might know someone who can help. But Noah, are you sure about this? Divorce is a thing, you know? Much simpler. This isn't just about the affair, Noah said. It's about respect. It's about... He paused, searching for the right words. It's about making sure she never forgets who I am. Zadie was quiet for a moment. Then she picked up her phone. I'm sending you a number, she said. His name is Benjamin Keys. He's an attorney who specializes in creative financial solutions. Tell him I sent you. Noah felt a weight lift off his shoulders. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Zadie put a hand on his arm. Just promise me you won't lose yourself in whatever this is. I won't, Noah assured her. I'm just taking control of my life again. As he walked to his car, Noah felt his phone vibrate. A text from Marla landed safely. Miss you already. He didn't reply. Noah sat across from Benjamin Keyes in a small, unremarkable office above a hardware store. Despite the modest surroundings, Keyes wore a tailored suit and had the confident demeanor of someone who knew exactly how much he was worth. Zadie speaks highly of you, Keyes said, studying the documents Noah had brought. Says you're meticulous and trustworthy. I try to be, Noah replied. Keyes nodded absently, still reading. These bonds are impressive. Your grandfather was a forward thinker. Can they be converted without creating a paper trail back to me? Keyes looked up, his expression calculating. Legally? Yes. The bonds are bearer instruments. They belong to whoever holds them. But converting this many at once would trigger reporting requirements. I don't need it all at once, Noah said. Smart. Keyes leaned back in his chair. What exactly are you trying to accomplish, Mr. Whitaker? Are we talking about hiding assets before divorce? Because I should warn you. Not hiding, Noah interrupted. Investing. Separately from my wife's knowledge, but not illegally. Keyes tapped his fingers on the desk. A shell company, then? Something legitimate, but removed from your name. Exactly. I can set that up for you. A Wyoming LLC would provide the most privacy. We use a registered agent. Keep your name off public documents. Keyes named his fee substantial, but not unreasonable. There's more, Noah said. I want to invest in tech startups, specifically educational technology. But I need guidance. Keyes smiled for the first time. I know just a person. Former client. Made a fortune in early-stage investments. She's selective about who she works with, but I can make an introduction. 3 days later, Noah met with Elena Vasquez in a quiet corner of a busy cafe. In her 60s, with short gray hair and piercing eyes, she radiated competence. Benjamin says you have capital to invest, she said after they'd exchanged pleasantries, and that you're interested in ed tech. That's right, Noah confirmed. I believe there's significant growth potential there. Based on what analysis? I was a teacher for 10 years. I've been developing educational software for the past 3. I see the gaps in the market. Elena took a sip of her espresso. Most people come to me with money and expect me to tell them where to put it. You already know. I have some ideas, Noah admitted, but I need your expertise to validate them. Elena studied him for a moment. Bring me your list. Top 5 companies you think are worth investing in, and why. I'll review them and give you my assessment. Over the next 2 weeks, Noah researched intensively. He compiled detailed analyses of emerging educational technology companies, focusing on those with innovative approaches but limited capital. When he presented his findings to Elena, she seemed impressed. These are solid choices, she said, especially Learnify and Cognitive Loop. Their algorithms are revolutionary, but they're struggling to scale. Those are my top 2, Noah said. I'd add Neurotech to your list, Elena suggested. They're working on adaptive learning systems that could change how we understand educational achievement. By the end of the month, Whisper Ridge LLC was fully operational. With Elena's guidance, Noah invested in 7 promising startups, allocating his capital strategically to maximize potential returns while minimizing risk. Marla noticed nothing. She was too preoccupied with her own secrets. 6 months into his investment strategy, Noah received an email from the CEO of Cognitive Loop, requesting a meeting with the angel investor who had provided their seed funding. We've had a breakthrough, the email explained, and we want to discuss expansion opportunities. The meeting took place at their small office in a technology incubator downtown. Dr. Jenna Larson, the neuropsychologist who had founded the company, explained their discovery with contagious enthusiasm. The adaptive testing module is working beyond our expectations, she said, showing Noah their data. Students using our platform are showing a 40% improvement in retention compared to traditional methods. Noah reviewed the numbers carefully. These results are remarkable. We think so too. Jenna couldn't stop smiling, which is why we've had interest from several major educational publishers. They want to license our technology. What are the terms? That's why we wanted to meet with you. As our primary investor, you have priority options. She slid a folder across the table. These are the offers we've received so far. Noah opened the folder. The highest bid was from Apex Educational Systems, $12 million for exclusive licensing rights. What's your recommendation? Noah asked. Honestly, take the Apex deal. They have the distribution network we need, and they're offering the most favorable terms. Noah nodded. Draft the agreements. I'll have my attorney review them. Within 2 weeks, the deal was finalized. Noah's initial investment of $250,000 had yielded a return of nearly $4 million as the majority stakeholder. Similar successes followed with 2 other companies in his portfolio. By the 18-month mark, Whisper Ridge LLC had assets exceeding $9 million that Noah kept living exactly as before. He drove the same car, wore the same clothes, and continued his freelance work. The only change was a small office he rented under the LLC's name, where he could work without Marla's interference. As his wealth grew, so did his knowledge of the Thorne family business. Noah began with public record searches, examining property holdings and corporate filings. He discovered a web of LLCs connected to Derek's gym franchise, Olympian Fitness. The structure seemed unnecessarily complex for a legitimate business. Companies with vague names like Peak Performance Holdings and Elite Management Services appeared to exist solely to transfer funds between entities. Noah hired a private investigator, another recommendation from Zadie, a former police detective named Ray Carlisle, who specialized in financial crimes. What exactly are you looking for? Ray asked during their initial meeting. Inconsistencies, Noah replied. My brother-in-law's business is too profitable for what it is. I want to know why. Ray charged by the hour and promised discretion. 2 weeks later, he delivered his preliminary findings. Your instincts were right, Ray said, passing Noah a thumb drive. The gyms themselves are marginally profitable, but there's too much cash moving through the business. Classic signs of laundering. Can you prove it? Ray shrugged. I can document suspicious patterns. Proving intent would require access I don't have. That's FBI territory. What about my wife's involvement? Noah asked. Her name is Marla Whitaker, formerly Thorne. Ray nodded. She's listed as an officer on several of the shell companies. Whether she's actively involved or just a signature, I can't say. Noah inserted the thumb drive into his laptop. Show me. Ray opened a complex diagram of interconnected companies. See these 3 LLCs here? Your wife is the sole officer on record. They receive regular transfers from the management company that handles the gym's cash flow. What happens to the money after that? It gets scattered real estate investments, equipment purchases, consultant fees. Ray pointed to several arrows on the diagram. Most of it eventually ends up here, in an offshore account in the Caymans. Noah studied the screen. Is there any legitimate explanation for this structure? Ray chuckled. Sure, if you're running an international conglomerate with complex tax considerations. Not for a regional gym chain. I need more evidence, Noah decided. Bank statements, transfer records, anything that shows clear illegal activity. That's going to cost you, Ray warned. And it crosses into gray legal territory. I understand. Do it anyway. Over the next several months, Ray built a comprehensive file documenting years of suspicious financial transactions. Noah stored all the evidence in a secure cloud account, accessible only with 2-factor authentication. Meanwhile, Marla grew increasingly distant. She spent more weekends away, citing work commitments or family obligations. When she was home, she was distracted, constantly checking her phone. Derek visited more frequently, always with a veneer of brotherly concern. We never see you at family functions anymore, he commented during one such visit, sprawling on Noah's couch with entitled ease. Marla says you're always working. My schedule is unpredictable, Noah replied, remaining standing. You know, that offer to join the business is still open, Derek said. Families should stick together. The irony wasn't lost on Noah. I appreciate the offer, but I'm focused on my own project right now. Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes. Suit yourself. But Marla deserves better than this lifestyle. He gestured dismissively at the modest living room. Have you asked Marla what she wants? I know my sister. Derek stood, towering over Noah by several inches. She was raised to expect more. She knows where I stand on the house. Derek's expression hardened. The house. Always the house. You do realize you're choosing a pile of wood and nails over your marriage, right? Is that what Marla thinks? Why don't you ask her? If you can tear yourself away from whatever it is you do down in that basement all day. After Derek left, Noah went to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of water. He glanced at the calendar on the wall. 6 more months until the Learnify IPO. If projections held, Whisper Ridge LLC would triple in value overnight. He just needed to be patient. The first snowfall of December frosted the windows of Noah's childhood home. He sat at his father's desk, reviewing the latest documents Ray had sent him. Each page confirmed what he already suspected: the Thorne family business was built on deception. His phone buzzed with a text from Marla, running late. Don't wait up. Noah set the phone aside without responding. He'd stopped asking where she was going or who she was with. The answers were always lies. He turned back to his computer screen, scrolling through bank statements for Elite Management Services. The pattern was clear: large cash deposits followed by immediate transfers to Marla's companies, then dispersed to various vendors and contractors. Many of the invoices appeared legitimate at first glance, but Ray had flagged numerous inconsistencies. A construction company that received monthly payments of exactly $9,999, just under the federal reporting threshold, had no website, no physical address beyond a P.O. box, and no business license on file with the state. A consulting firm receiving 6-figure payments quarterly listed Derek's college roommate as its sole employee. Equipment purchases for gym locations that had closed years ago. The evidence was damning, but Noah needed more. Specifically, he needed proof that Marla was knowingly participating in the scheme. That he picked up his phone and called Ray. I need access to her email, Noah said without preamble when Ray answered. That's definitely illegal territory, Ray replied. Even if it's a shared computer, accessing her accounts without permission crosses a line. What about text messages? Can you get those? Ray was quiet for a moment. Possibly, but again, we're talking about actions that could put you in legal jeopardy. Noah considered this. What would you recommend? Keep it legal, Ray advised. Focus on the public financial records. If there's enough there, let the authorities handle the rest. I don't want authorities involved yet, Noah said. This needs to stay private until I'm ready. After ending the call, Noah stared at the ceiling, thinking. He needed leverage, something concrete that tied Marla directly to the illegal activities. Something she couldn't deny or explain away. The solution came to him 2 days later, when Marla asked him to sign a stack of documents. It's just the refinance paperwork for the house, she explained, sliding the papers across the dining table. The interest rate is much better now, and we could take some equity out for renovations. Noah flipped through the thick packet. You went ahead with this without discussing it with me? Marla sighed dramatically. I tried to discuss it with you 3 times this month. You were always too busy with your secret projects. I never agreed to refinance. Well, you need to decide now. The rate lock expires tomorrow. She pushed a pen toward him. Just sign. It's a good financial move. Noah examined the documents more carefully. This isn't just a refinance. You're adding your name to the deed. Of course. We're married. Everything should be joint. The house was my father's legacy to me, Noah said. It stays in my name. Marla's pleasant expression faltered. This is ridiculous. It's just a legal formality. If it's just a formality, then it doesn't matter if my name is the only one on the deed. Fine. Marla stood abruptly. Forget the whole thing. Keep your precious house exactly as it is, falling apart and stuck in the past. Just like you. She stormed out of the room, but Noah barely noticed her departure. His mind was racing with a new plan. The next morning, he created a new set of documents. Using templates he found online, he drafted what appeared to be standard refinancing papers. But hidden within the dense legal language was a clause waiving Marla's marital rights to the property and any future appreciation in value. He also included several blank signature pages that could be attached to any document later. When Marla returned from work that evening, Noah approached her with conciliatory energy. "You were right about the refinance," he said. "I've been stuck in the past. It's time to make some changes around here." Marla's surprise was evident. "Really? You're willing to renovate?" "Within reason," Noah qualified. "But yes, I think it's time to update a few things." Relief and triumph flashed across Marla's face. "I have so many ideas. We could start with the kitchen. Those countertops are from the Stone Age." "I've done some research," Noah said, pulling out his folder. "There's a better rate available than the one you found. I've started the paperwork." He laid the documents on the coffee table. "It's mostly filled out, just needs our signatures." Marla barely glanced at the papers. "This is great, Noah. I knew you'd come around eventually. We should celebrate," Noah suggested. "Open that bottle of wine your brother gave us for Christmas." While Marla went to get the wine, Noah arranged the papers strategically, placing the crucial pages in the middle of the stack. 2 glasses of wine later, Marla signed everywhere Noah indicated, including the hidden waiver and the blank signature pages. "I'm proud of you," she said, kissing his cheek after signing the last page. "This is the first step toward our future." Noah collected the papers, feeling a twinge of guilt that quickly dissolved when he saw a text notification flash on Marla's phone. "Miss you already. Same time next week." The next day, Noah brought the signed papers to Benjamin Keyes. "Are you sure about this?" Keyes asked after reviewing the documents. "It's legally binding, but if she challenges it later and proves she didn't understand what she was signing, she won't challenge it," Noah said confidently. "Not after I show her everything else I have." Keyes raised an eyebrow, but didn't press further. "What about these blank signature pages?" "Insurance," Noah explained. "Just in case." With the waiver properly filed and the blank signatures securely stored, Noah turned his attention back to the Thorne family finances. He needed one final piece of evidence to complete his case. The opportunity came when Derek invited them to his lake house for a weekend in February. Noah, who normally declined such invitations, surprised Marla by accepting. "Are you feeling all right?" she asked suspiciously. "You hate these weekends?" "I think it's time I made more of an effort with your family," Noah said. "Isn't that what you've always wanted?" The lake house was ostentatious 6 bedrooms, a home theater, and a boathouse larger than some apartments. Trey Maddox was there, along with several other business associates Noah recognized from Derek's social media posts. Marla seemed nervous about having Noah and Trey in the same space, but Noah played the role of oblivious husband perfectly. He engaged in polite conversation, asked appropriate questions about the gym business, and excused himself early each night, claiming to be tired. What he actually did was search Derek's home office while everyone else was busy with late-night drinks and hot tubs socializing on the second night. He found what he was looking for: a laptop left carelessly on the desk, still logged in to Derek's email account. Noah inserted a small USB drive and quickly copied selected folders. .by Sunday afternoon. When they drove home, Noah had everything he needed. Emails between Derek and various associates discussing cleaning cash through the business. Communications with offshore banking representatives. And most damning of all, explicit instructions to Marla about which documents to sign and what to tell Noah if he asked questions. Back home, Noah downloaded the emails to his secure cloud storage and added them to his growing file of evidence against the Thorne siblings. That night, as Marla slept beside him, Noah stared at the ceiling and thought about his father's words. "Burn every bridge if it lights your way." The time for burning was approaching. Noah arrived at Zadie's apartment with a bottle of wine and a stack of folders under his arm. Her building was in a gentrifying part of town once industrial, now populated with artists and young professionals attracted by the affordable rents and high ceilings. Zadie opened the door wearing paint-splattered overalls over a black tank top. Her purple hair had given way to a vibrant teal, and a new tattoo adorned her left forearm, a phoenix rising from ashes. "Right on time," she said, stepping aside to let him in. "And you brought the good stuff." "Impressive." Noah handed her the wine. "Thanks for doing this." "Hey, we're friends for if not plotting elaborate revenge schemes." She grinned and led him into her open-concept living space. The apartment reflected Zadie's personality: colorful, eclectic, and unapologetically authentic. Canvases in various stages of completion leaned against walls. Plants thrived in unexpected corners. Books were stacked beside comfortable furniture that prioritized function over fashion. "I want you to meet someone," Zadie said. Gesturing toward a man sitting at her dining table, he stood as they approached, tall, with warm brown skin and closely cropped hair peppered with premature gray. His button-down shirt was rolled up to the elbows, revealing forearms marked with old scars. "Noah, this is Michael Bell," Zadie said. "Michael, this is Noah, my oldest friend and current schemer extraordinaire." Michael extended his hand. "Nice to meet you. Zadie speaks highly of you." Noah shook his hand, noting the firm grip. "Likewise. How do you two know each other?" "Michael is my fiancé," Zadie announced, a hint of wonder in her voice, as if she still couldn't quite believe it herself. "We met when I did his memorial tattoo last year." "For my sister," Michael explained, touching his right forearm where an intricate butterfly design was visible beneath his shirt sleeve. "Zadie has a gift for capturing memories." Noah looked between them, noticing the easy way they occupied space together. "Congratulations. I didn't know you were seeing anyone." "It happened fast," Zadie admitted. "But when you know, you know." Michael smiled at her with unguarded affection. "I'll open the wine while you two catch up." As he moved to the kitchen, Zadie lowered her voice. "Michael used to work in the district attorney's office. He's a defense attorney now, specializing in financial crimes." Noah raised his eyebrows. "Convenient. I thought so too." Zadie grabbed his arm. "He doesn't know specifics about your situation. I just told him you needed legal advice about some sensitive documents." "Thank you for the discretion." "Always." Zadie squeezed his arm. "But Noah, he's good people. You can trust him." Over dinner, a surprisingly excellent pasta dish Michael had prepared, they kept the conversation general. They discussed books, local politics, and Zadie's upcoming gallery show. Noah found himself genuinely enjoying Michael's company. He was thoughtful and articulate, with a subtle sense of humor that complemented Zadie's more boisterous personality. After they cleared the dishes, Zadie brought out coffee and dessert. "Now, let's talk about why you're really here." Noah hesitated, glancing at Michael. "I could step out if you prefer," Michael offered. "No," Noah decided. "If Zadie trusts you, that's good enough for me." He placed his folders on the table and opened the first one. "I've been collecting evidence of financial crimes committed by my brother-in-law and possibly my wife." Michael's expression remained neutral, professional. "What kind of financial crimes?" "Money laundering, primarily, through a chain of fitness centers and shell companies." Noah began laying out documents in a methodical order. "Here are the bank records showing cash deposits just under reporting thresholds. Here are property records for businesses that exist only on paper. And here are emails explicitly discussing how to clean money through the business." Michael examined each document carefully, asking occasional clarifying questions. His focus was intense, his analysis precise. After nearly an hour, he sat back and looked at Noah. "This is substantial. More than enough for a federal investigation, possibly indictments." "That's not my goal," Noah said. "At least not yet." "What is your goal?" Noah hesitated, then decided on complete honesty. "Leverage. I want to divorce my wife on my terms. I want to keep my house and everything I've built separately. And I want to make sure neither she nor her brother ever threatens me again." Michael nodded slowly. "Blackmail, essentially. I prefer to think of it as negotiation from a position of strength." Michael smiled slightly. "A semantic distinction, but I take your point." He gathered the documents and returned them to their folders. "You're holding a nuclear bomb, Noah. The question is whether you're prepared for the fallout when you detonate it. That's why I need your help," Noah said. "I need to know exactly how to use this information for maximum effect with minimum legal risk to myself." "And your wife? You realize she could face federal charges?" Noah met his gaze steadily. "I realize that's a possibility." Michael turned to Zadie. "Your friend plays a long game." "You have no idea," Zadie replied. "He once waited 2 years to get back at a bully who stole his lunch money in 7th grade. The kid never knew what hit him." "What did you do?" Michael asked Noah, curious. "Nothing illegal," Noah assured him. "Just a carefully orchestrated social humiliation." Michael tapped his fingers on the table. "Well, if you're committed to this course of action, There are some things you should know about evidence collection, admissibility, and the legal implications of threatening to expose criminal activity. For the next 2 hours, Michael outlined a strategy that would maximize Noah's leverage while minimizing his legal exposure. He explained how to properly document chain of custody for the evidence, how to phrase demands to avoid accusations of extortion, and how to protect Noah's own assets from potential clawback if the Thorne family business faced legal consequences. The key is compartmentalization, Michael explained. You need a clear separation between any knowledge of wrongdoing and your financial decisions. That's already in place, Noah said. My investments are completely separate from anything connected to the Thorns. Good. Keep it that way. Michael closed his notebook. I'd also suggest preparing for worst-case scenarios. If this goes sideways, you could face retaliation, legal or otherwise. I've considered that. Have you? Michael's expression was serious. People who launder money often have connections to more dangerous individuals. Derek could be working with people who solve problems through means other than lawyers. Noah hadn't considered this angle. You think he might be dangerous? I think desperation makes people unpredictable, Michael clarified. And what you're planning will make him very desperate. Zadie, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, spoke up. Maybe there's another way, Noah. Divorce her, take your money, and move on. Is revenge worth the risk? It's not about revenge, Noah said. It's about justice and making sure they never take advantage of anyone else again. Michael studied him for a moment. I believe you mean that. But be careful, the line between justice and vengeance is thinner than most people realize. As Noah gathered his folders to leave, Michael handed him his business card. Call me when you're ready to move forward. And Noah, whatever you decide to do with this information, make sure it's something you can live with afterward. Noah nodded. I appreciate the advice and the help. That's what friends do, Michael said, putting an arm around Zadie's waist. They help each other make difficult decisions with clear eyes. On the drive home, Noah thought about Michael's warnings. Was he underestimating the potential fallout? Was his desire for justice, or yes, perhaps revenge, clouding his judgment? He parked in front of his house and sat in the car for several minutes. Lights off, engine silent. Marla's car wasn't in the driveway. Despite telling him she was having dinner with a client, she was likely with Trey. Noah took out his phone and opened the investment app he used to monitor Whisper Ridge LLC's holdings. The Learnify IPO was scheduled for next month. Current projections estimated a 400% return on his initial investment. That he closed the app and went inside, decision made. The plan would proceed. But he would take Michael's advice and prepare for all contingencies, including the possibility that the Thorns might be more dangerous than he had assumed. In the quiet house, Noah descended to the basement and opened his father's safe. He removed the cassette tape and placed it into the old player. His father's voice filled the room once more. Never let them forget who you are. Burn every bridge if it lights your way. Noah listened to the entire recording, drawing strength from his father's words. When it finished, he rewound it and placed it back in the safe. Then he went to his workbench and began drafting a new document, the final piece of his plan. Spring arrived with unexpected warmth, bringing color back to the neighborhood. Noah tended to the garden his father had meticulously maintained, pruning rose bushes and preparing beds for new plantings from the front yard. He heard the distinctive sound of Marla's luxury SUV pulling into the driveway, a vehicle she had purchased without consulting him, claiming it was necessary for client meetings. She emerged from the car laden with shopping bags bearing designer logos. When she spotted Noah kneeling in the dirt, garden shears in hand, her smile tightened almost imperceptibly. You're getting filthy, she called as she approached. I thought we agreed to hire a landscaper this year. I enjoy gardening, Noah replied, sitting back on his heels. It was my father's passion. Marla sighed. Yes, I know. Everything about this house is sacred. She shifted her bags from one hand to the other. I'm hosting the book club tomorrow night. Could you make yourself scarce? We'll be discussing topics not suitable for husbands. Of course, Noah said. I have a meeting downtown anyway. Perfect. She started toward the house, then paused. Oh, and Derek invited us to dinner Saturday. The new steakhouse downtown. I can't make it, Noah said. I have a deadline. Marla's expression hardened. You always have a deadline, or a meeting, or some other excuse to avoid my family. Not true. I went to the lake house. Once. In 7 years of marriage. Marla shook her head. Whatever. I'll tell him you're busy being important in the basement again. She went inside, letting the screen door slam behind her. Noah continued working in the garden for another hour, his mind elsewhere. The Learnify IPO had exceeded all projections, nearly quintupling his investment overnight. Combined with his other holdings, Whisper Ridge LLC now controlled assets exceeding $25 million that Elena had called that morning to congratulate him. You have a gift for picking winners, she'd said. What's your next move? Consolidation, Noah had replied, in preparation for a major life change. That evening, Noah made dinner a simple pasta dish that had once been Marla's favorite. She arrived home later than usual, her movements slightly unsteady as she dropped her purse on the counter. You cooked, she observed, surprise in her voice. What's the occasion? No occasion, Noah said. Just felt like cooking. Marla kicked off her heels and poured herself a glass of wine from an open bottle on the counter. Well, aren't you full of surprises lately? They ate in relative silence. Noah noticed that Marla was drinking more quickly than usual, already pouring her third glass before finishing her meal. Everything okay? He asked. Fine. She took another large swallow of wine. Just a stressful day. Anything you want to talk about? Marla laughed, the sound brittle. Since when are you interested in my day? I've always been interested, Noah said quietly. You stopped sharing. Something flickered across Marla's face, guilt, perhaps, or a momentary recognition of truth, but quickly disappeared. Well, if you must know, one of my clients is being difficult about payment terms. Nothing I can't handle. Noah nodded, knowing it was a lie. According to Ray's latest report, Marla hadn't worked with an actual client in months. Her marketing consultancy existed primarily on paper, serving as a conduit for Derek's laundered money. After dinner, they moved to the living room. Marla brought the wine bottle, now nearly empty. Derek thinks we should consider moving to the new development on the north side, she said abruptly. The Oaks. He knows the developer could get us a good deal. Noah kept his expression neutral. I'm not interested in moving. Of course you're not. Marla finished her wine. Heaven forbid we live somewhere that doesn't remind you of your father every minute of every day. It's not about my father, Noah said, though they both knew that wasn't entirely true. This is my home. It's a mausoleum. Marla stood, somewhat unsteadily. I'm tired of living with ghosts, Noah. Then perhaps you should consider other arrangements. The words hung in the air between them. Marla stared at him, momentarily speechless. Are you suggesting divorce? She finally asked. I'm suggesting you think about what you really want, Noah replied. Because it's clearly not this life, with me, in this house. Marla's laugh was harsh. Now he gets it. Only took you 7 years. Why did you marry me, Marla? The question seemed to catch her off guard. She sat back down, her anger momentarily displaced by introspection. You were different, she said after a moment. Steady, intelligent. You didn't care about impressing people or climbing social ladders. She looked around the modest living room. I thought it was refreshing. And now I think I was running away from something, not towards something. She poured the last of the wine into her glass. You know what Derek told me when we got engaged? He said, he'll never be one of us. He doesn't have the ambition. And you think he was right. I know he was right. Marla's words were slurring slightly. Look at us, Noah. Look at this house. Look at your life. You're exactly the same as you were when we met. No growth. No change. Noah absorbed the criticism without visible reaction. And you've changed for the better? At least I'm trying to move forward, she snapped. You're stuck in amber. Moving forward by sleeping with Trey Maddox. The words escaped before he could reconsider them. It wasn't part of the plan to confront her yet, but her condescension had triggered something deep within him. Marla froze, wine glass halfway to her lips. What did you say? You heard me. Noah kept his voice level. I know about the affair, Marla. I've known for over a year. She stared at him, calculation visible in her eyes, as she tried to determine how much he really knew. That's ridiculous, she said finally. Trey is Derek's business partner. We have meetings sometimes, that's all. Meetings in Chicago hotel rooms? At the lake house, when you think I'm asleep? Color drained from Marla's face. You've been spying on me. I didn't need to spy, Noah said. You've been careless. Receipts in your coat pockets. Late-night phone calls. Weekends away that never quite add up. Marla set down her wine glass with exaggerated care. So what now? You want a divorce? Fine. But understand something. Noah, you'll get nothing. This house. Derek's lawyers will tie it up in litigation for years. On what grounds? We'll find grounds, Marla said, her voice turning cold. Mental cruelty. Abandonment. The fact that you've been a ghost in this marriage for years. Noah didn't respond immediately. He simply observed the flushed cheeks, the defensive posture, the flash of fear behind her confidence. I think you should stay with your brother for a few days, he said finally. Give us both some space to think. Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Marla stood again, steadier now despite the alcohol. Get me out of the house so you can change the locks? Hide assets. I just think we both need clear heads for this discussion. There's nothing to discuss. Marla grabbed her purse from the side table. You're right about one thing. I should go to Derek's, and I'll be talking to a lawyer in the morning. That seems wise, Noah agreed. I've already spoken to mine. That gave her pause. You've already. She shook her head. You're bluffing. You can't afford a decent attorney on what you make. You'd be surprised what I can afford, Marla. She studied him for a moment, trying to decipher his calm confidence. Then she turned and walked unsteadily up the stairs. 20 minutes later, she descended with an overnight bag. This isn't over, she said from the doorway. Not by a long shot. After she left, Noah sat in the quiet living room, considering the encounter. It hadn't gone according to plan. He hadn't intended to reveal his knowledge of the affair yet, but perhaps it was for the best. Now the wheels were in motion. He took out his phone and called Michael. She's making her move, Noah said when Michael answered. I need to accelerate the timeline. Are you sure? Michael asked. Rushing could make mistakes more likely. I'm sure. She mentioned lawyers. How soon can we meet? Tomorrow morning, my office. 8 a.m. I'll be there. Noah ended the call and went to the basement. He opened his father's safe and removed the war bonds, the will, and the cassette tape. These would need to be stored elsewhere now that Marla knew conflict was imminent. As he climbed the stairs with the items, his phone chimed with a text. It was from Zadie. Michael just told me. You okay? Noah replied, better than okay. It's finally happening. Zadie's response came quickly. Be careful what you wish for. Still meeting for dinner tomorrow? Noah had forgotten their standing monthly dinner. Yes. I'll have updates by then. He placed the items from the safe in his briefcase and carried it to his car, locking it in the trunk. Then he returned to the house and methodically began gathering evidence of his separate finances, bank statements, investment reports, property records, anything that documented his activities while building Whisper Ridge LLC. By midnight, his preparation was complete. Noah went to bed in the empty house, sleeping better than he had in years. The next morning, a text from Marla arrived as he was leaving for his meeting with Michael. My lawyer will be contacting you. Don't do anything stupid. Noah didn't respond. He drove downtown to Michael's office, ready for the next phase of his plan. The weeks leading up to Marla's birthday passed in a blur of legal meetings, financial transactions, and careful preparation. She had returned to the house after her initial exit, moving into the guest bedroom and maintaining a cold distance from Noah. They communicated primarily through terse texts and notes left on the kitchen counter. Derek called once, his voice heavy with manufactured concern. Marla's upset, he said. She says you're being unreasonable about division of assets. I wasn't aware we were officially divorcing, Noah replied. Has she filed papers? Derek coughed, caught off guard. Not yet, but it's heading that way, isn't it? Perhaps. In the meantime, this remains between Marla and me. Listen, Noah. Derek's voice hardened. My sister deserves better than what you can give her. You know that. I know that. Let's not make this messier than it needs to be. Is that a threat? A suggestion? Derek clarified. From a concerned brother. I appreciate your concern, Noah said evenly. But as I said, this is between Marla and me. After ending the call, Noah contacted Ray, increasing security measures around his separate residence, a downtown apartment leased by Whisper Ridge LLC that Marla knew nothing about. He also arranged for Ray to monitor Derek's movements in the days leading up to the birthday party. The party itself had been Derek's idea, according to Marla's reluctant explanation. Just family and close friends, she'd said. At Derek's house. He feels we need something positive right now. Noah had agreed to attend without objection, surprising Marla with his easy acquiescence. Now, the day of the party had arrived. Noah arrived at Derek's estate an hour before the scheduled start time, explaining to the confused housekeeper that he was helping with final preparations. Mr. Thorne and Mrs. Whitaker are still getting ready upstairs, she informed him. The caterers are in the kitchen. Perfect, Noah said. I'll just arrange my gift with the others. The housekeeper directed him to a table in the main living room, already bearing several beautifully wrapped packages. Noah placed his plain white envelope strategically in the center of the display, propped against a larger gift so it couldn't be missed. Then he wandered through the house, familiarizing himself with the layout and exit options. The main floor was open concept, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking manicure grounds. A grand staircase led to the upper level, where he could hear movement, Marla and Derek's voices drifting down intermittently. Noah checked his watch. Still 40 minutes before guests would arrive. He slipped outside through French doors leading to a stone patio. From his pocket, he took a small digital recorder and tested it, speaking a few words and playing them back to ensure it was functioning properly. His phone vibrated with a text from Michael. Everything in place? Noah replied. Yes. Envelope delivered. Now we wait. Michael's response came quickly. We're on standby. Text when it's done. Noah pocketed his phone and the recorder, then returned to the house. In the kitchen, caterers bustled about, arranging appetizers on silver platters. They barely glanced at him as he helped himself to a bottle of sparkling water from an ice bucket. He was sitting calmly in an armchair in the living room when Marla descended the stairs. She wore a crimson dress that hugged her figure, her hair and makeup flawless. She froze momentarily when she spotted him. You're early, she said, recovering quickly. I wanted to help set up. Noah replied, that Marla's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Since when do you care about party preparations? I thought it might reduce your stress level. Noah gestured to the gift table. I've already placed my present with the others. Marla glanced at the table, spotting the white envelope immediately. Her expression darkened. Not another envelope, she said. Haven't we moved past that? Open it when you're ready, Noah told her. It contains important information. Before she could respond, Derek appeared at the top of the stairs. He descended quickly, his face tightening when he saw Noah. You're early, he echoed his sister's words. So I've been told. Derek looked between Noah and Marla, sensing tension. Everything okay down here? Fine, Marla said quickly. Noah was just telling me about his gift. Let me guess, Derek smirked. A gift card to the home improvement store? Noah smiled slightly. Something more substantial. The doorbell rang, announcing the first guests. The confrontation paused as Derek moved to welcome them, a middle-aged couple Noah recognized as business associates of the Thorne family. As more guests arrived, Noah circulated politely but maintained a careful distance from the main group. He exchanged pleasantries with those who approached him, always keeping Marla in his peripheral vision. Trey Maddox arrived 45 minutes into the party, greeting Derek with a backslapping hug before kissing Marla's cheek in a gesture just slightly too familiar to be casual. When he spotted Noah watching, Trey gave a stiff nod of acknowledgement before quickly moving to the by 8 o'clock. The party was in full swing. 30 guests filled Derek's spacious living room, drinking champagne and sampling hors d'oeuvres. Noah positioned himself near the gift table, waiting for the moment Derek would inevitably suggest opening presents. It came shortly after a toast to Marla's health and happiness, delivered by Derek with practiced charm. And now, he announced, guiding Marla toward the gift table, let's see what treasures await the birthday girl. Marla accepted the first few gifts with appropriate enthusiasm, a designer handbag from Derek, an expensive bracelet from Trey, spa certificates, and luxury items from other guests. With each gift opened, She moved closer to the white envelope. Noah watched her carefully, noting the way she deliberately avoided it, choosing packages from the far side of the table first. Eventually, only the envelope remained. The room grew quiet as all eyes turned to the simple white rectangle. Saving the best for last, Derek joked, but his tone held an edge. Marla forced a smile. It's from Noah. Well, don't keep us in suspense, one of the guests urged with obvious reluctance. Marla picked up the envelope. The gathering watched expectantly as she slid it open with a manicured fingernail. Noah kept his expression neutral as she removed the contents, several photographs, followed by financial documents, followed by the legal waiver she had unknowingly signed months earlier. He watched understanding dawn on her face as she looked through the materials, first confusion, then shock, followed by growing horror. Her hands began to shake. "What is it, sis?" Derek asked, moving to look over her shoulder. Marla quickly stuffed the documents back into the envelope. "Just paperwork," she stammered, for a surprise Noah's planning. But her face had lost all color, and her voice trembled noticeably. "Paperwork? At a birthday party?" Derek frowned. "Let me see. It's private," Marla said quickly, clutching the envelope to her chest. Noah stepped forward. "It's documentation of things Marla might prefer to keep confidential," he said calmly. "Records of her extracurricular activities, you might say." The guests shifted uncomfortably, sensing undercurrents they didn't understand. "I need some air," Marla announced suddenly, hurrying toward the patio doors with the envelope still clutched in her hand. Trey started to follow her, but Noah's voice stopped him. "I wouldn't if I were you," Noah said. "There are some rather unflattering photos of you in there as well." Trey froze, his face flushing. "What are you talking about?" "I think you know." Derek stepped between them, his expression thunderous. "What the hell is going on, Noah? Perhaps we should discuss this privately," Noah suggested, but it was too late for privacy. Marla had returned, her makeup streaked from hasty tears. She went straight to Trey, shoving him hard in the chest. "You said no one would find out," she hissed. "You promised me." The guests began to murmur, some edging toward the door. "Marla," Derek warned, "this isn't the time." "He has everything," she interrupted, her voice rising hysterically. "The transfers, the fake invoices, the offshore accounts, everything." A heavy silence fell over the room. Derek's face went from angry to calculating in an instant. "I think everyone needs to leave," he announced to the gathering. "Family emergency. Thank you all for coming." As the confused guests began filing out, Noah remained perfectly still, watching the panic spread between Marla, Derek, and Trey. When the last guest had gone, Derek rounded on Noah. "Whatever you think you know, I know everything," Noah interrupted quietly. 3 years of financial records, emails, text messages, enough evidence to put both of you in federal prison for a decade. "You're bluffing," Derek said, but uncertainty had crept into his voice. Noah took out his phone and played a brief audio clip, Derek's voice clearly instructing someone to run it through Marla's company first, then to the Cayman account. "That's just the beginning," Noah said, stopping the playback. "I have it all, Derek. Every transaction, every fraudulent document, every step of your money laundering operation." Derek lunged forward suddenly, grabbing Noah by the shirt front. "You think you can threaten me? In my own house?" Noah didn't resist. "It's not a threat. It's a fact, and attacking me won't change it." "Let him go," Marla said, her voice strangely calm now. "He's right. He has enough to destroy us." Derek released Noah with a shove. "So what do you want?" "Money. I already have money," Noah replied, straightening his shirt. "More than you might imagine." "Then what?" Marla demanded. "What is this about?" "Consequences," Noah said simply, "for the choices you've made." He reached into his pocket and withdrew the small digital recorder. "I think it's time we listened to something important." Noah pressed play. His father's voice filled the room, slightly scratchy but clear. "Son, never let them forget who you are. Burn every bridge if it lights your way." As the recording ended, the distant wail of police sirens became audible, growing closer by the second. "What did you do?" Derek demanded, his face paling. "I made a call," Noah said. "Actually, my attorney made a call." to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. They've been very interested in Olympian fitness for some time now. Marla sank onto the couch, the envelope falling from her hands. "You've ruined everything," she whispered. "No, Marla," Noah corrected her. "You did that yourself." The sirens were very close now, flashing lights visible through the windows. Derek made a move toward the back of the house, but Noah's next words stopped him. "Running will only make it worse," he advised. "The evidence is overwhelming. Your best option is to cooperate." Trey, who had been silent throughout the confrontation, suddenly bolted for the door. Noah made no move to stop him. "You won't get far," Noah said as the door slammed behind Trey. "There are agents watching the house." Derek turned to Marla. "This is your fault," he snarled. "You brought him into our lives." Before she could respond, there was a loud knock at the front door, followed by an authoritative voice. "FBI, open the door." Noah walked calmly to let them in. The morning after Marla's birthday party, Noah sat alone in his kitchen, sipping coffee and reading news reports on his tablet. The arrest of Derek Thorne, prominent businessman and fitness entrepreneur, had made the front page of the local paper. The article mentioned allegations of money laundering and financial improprieties, but didn't name Marla not yet. Noah had spent 6 hours at the FBI field office the previous night, providing statements and turning over evidence. Michael had been with him throughout the process, ensuring everything was handled properly. Marla hadn't come home. According to the agent in charge, she was cooperating with authorities in exchange for potential leniency. Noah wasn't surprised. Self-preservation had always been Marla's strongest instinct. His phone rang Zadie. "Holy shit," she said when he answered. "It's all over the news." "You actually did it." "I did," Noah confirmed. "How does it feel?" Noah considered the question. "Strange. Empty in some ways. Satisfying in others." "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he assured her. "Just processing everything." "Michael told me what happened," Zadie said. "He's impressed with how you handled yourself. He was a tremendous help. I couldn't have done this without him." "What happens now?" Zadie asked. "Now I rebuild," Noah said. "Officially file for divorce. Move forward with my life. Need company today? Michael and I could bring lunch." "Thanks, but I need some solitude right now." "Rain check." "Absolutely. Call if you need anything." After hanging up, Noah walked through the quiet house's house, unequivocally his now. The waiver Marla had unknowingly signed had been reviewed by 3 separate attorneys, all confirming its validity. She would have no claim on the property regardless of how the criminal case unfolded. His phone rang again. Unknown number. "Hello, Noah, it's Trey." The voice was tense, hurried. "We need to talk." "No, we don't," Noah replied calmly. "There's nothing to discuss. Look, I know you hate me, but this has gotten out of hand. Derek's looking at serious time. Marla's career is over. Actions have consequences. They're saying I could be charged as an accessory." Trey continued, desperation creeping into his voice. "I had nothing to do with the financial stuff. I just work there. You should probably address that with your attorney, not me." "Please," Trey said, "if you tell them I wasn't involved." "But you were involved," Noah interrupted. "Maybe not with the money laundering, but you were involved in destroying my marriage. You made your choices, Trey. Now you get to live with them." Noah ended the call and blocked the number. Later that morning, he drove downtown to the offices of Whitaker Educational Technologies, the new name for Whisper Ridge, LLC. The modest suite on the 12th floor of a glass tower offered views of the city skyline and, in the distance, the river winding through parks and neighborhoods. His assistant, Janet, greeted him as he entered. "The team's waiting in the conference room. There's coffee and bagels." "Thank you," Noah said. "And thank you for handling everything yesterday." Janet nodded, her expression sympathetic. "Of course. It's all over the news, you know. Are you sure you want to hold the meeting today?" "Absolutely. Life goes on." In the conference room, 6 people waited: software developers, marketing specialists, and educational consultants Noah had hired over the past 6 months. They looked up expectantly as he entered. "Good morning," Noah began, taking his place at the head of the table. "First, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, my brother-in-law was arrested last night. Yes, it will likely impact my personal life significantly. No, it will not affect this company or our mission. Relief visibly swept through the group. Now, Noah continued. Let's discuss the school district pilot program. Jenna, where do we stand with implementation? For the next 2 hours, Noah focused entirely on the business's business, built from his father's legacy and his own determination. The educational application they were developing had secured commitments from 3 major school districts for pilot programs beginning in the fall. After the meeting, Noah went to his private office and closed the door. He sat at his desk and opened his laptop, checking news updates. The story was expanding. Marla's name had appeared in an afternoon report, identifying her as a person of interest in the investigation. His phone buzzed with a text from Michael. She's asking to see you. Says it's important. Noah stared at the message for a long moment before replying, where Michael's response came quickly. FBI office. My advice is to decline, but your call. Noah considered his options. I'll meet her. Can you arrange it? Already did. For PM today. I'll meet you there at 4 o'clock. Noah sat in a sterile interview room at the FBI field office. Michael waited outside, having advised Noah on what he could and couldn't discuss. The door opened, and Marla entered, escorted by a female agent. Her designer clothes had been replaced by jeans and a plain blouse. Without makeup, she looked younger, vulnerable. 30 minutes, the agent told them before leaving. Marla sat across from Noah, her hands clasped tightly on the table between them. Thank you for coming, she said, her voice subdued. I wasn't sure you would. What do you want, Marla? She looked directly at him for the first time. I want to understand why. Why did you do this? Why not just divorce me? This was never just about our marriage, Noah said. It was about accountability. Accountability? Marla's voice rose slightly. You've destroyed our lives. Derek is facing 20 years. The business is finished. My reputation is ruined. You destroyed your own lives, Noah corrected. I just exposed what you were already doing. Marla's eyes narrowed. You planned this for years, didn't you? All those hours in the basement. The quiet acceptance of everything I did. It was all part of your scheme. I gave you chances, Marla. Many chances to be honest, to treat me with respect. You chose otherwise. So this is punishment for not loving you enough? She asked bitterly. No, Noah said. This is justice for breaking the law. For thinking you were above consequences. For believing your family name would protect you forever. Marla was quiet for a moment. The money, she said finally. You mentioned having more than we might imagine. What did you mean? Noah smiled slightly. I built a company while you were busy with Trey. It's quite successful. Disbelief crossed Marla's face. You're lying. Whitaker Educational Technologies. Look it up when you have internet access again. Marla stared at him. All this time, Noah confirmed. Were you ever going to tell me? Would it have mattered? Would it have changed how you treated me? How you spoke about me to your friends and family? Marla had no answer for that. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow, Noah told her. The paperwork will be straightforward. The property waiver you signed is legally binding. You tricked me into signing that. Marla protested. Yes, Noah acknowledged. Just as you tried to trick me into selling my father's house. Marla's shoulders slumped. What about my legal fees? I have nothing left. That's not my concern. So you're just going to leave me with nothing? After 7 years of marriage. Noah regarded her calmly. You chose nothing when you decided I wasn't enough. Tears filled Marla's eyes. I never meant for it to go this far, she whispered. The affair, the business with Derek, it all just happened so gradually. Choice by choice, Noah said. Day by day. That's how lives are built or destroyed. And you never made a wrong choice? Never a mistake. Many, Noah admitted. My biggest was believing you married me for love. The door opened, and the agent reappeared. Time's up. Marla stood, wiping her eyes. What happens now? Now you face your consequences, Noah said. And I face mine. What consequences do you have? Marla asked bitterly. You got everything you wanted. Noah shook his head. I lost 7 years with someone who never really loved me. That's its own punishment. As she turned to leave, Noah called after her. Marla. She looked back. For what it's worth, I did love you. Completely. That wasn't a lie. Something like regret flickered across her face. Then she was gone, escorted from the room by the waiting agent. Michael was waiting in the hall when Noah emerged. "How did it go?" "About as expected," Noah replied. "She's angry, hurt, looking for someone to blame." "Standard," Michael nodded. "You okay?" "Yes," Noah said, and meant it. "I'm ready to move forward." 1 month after Marla's birthday party, Noah sat in Benjamin Key's office, signing the final divorce papers. The proceedings had been swift and uncontested. Marla, facing potential federal charges, had no leverage to challenge the property waiver or demand alimony. "That's the last one," Keyes said, collecting the signed documents. "I'll file these today. Once the judge signs off, you'll be officially divorced." "How long will that take?" Noah asked. "With uncontested papers?" "A week, maybe 2. Keyes organized the documents into a folder. "Have you heard from her?" "Not directly. Her attorney called once about retrieving personal items from the house. I had everything boxed and delivered to her brother's address." Keyes nodded approvingly. "Clean break. Smart." Noah wrote a check for Keyes' final invoice and stood to leave. "Thank you for your help these past few years. I couldn't have done this without you." "My pleasure," Keyes said, shaking his hand. "What will you do now?" "Focus on the business. The school district pilot program launches next month." "No vacation? No celebration?" Noah smiled slightly. "I'm not much for celebrations lately." Outside, the summer heat hit him like a wall as he walked to his car. He had traded in his old sedan for a new electric vehicle, practical, not flashy, but significantly more comfortable than his previous as he drove home. Noah's thoughts turned to the future. The past 3 years had been consumed by his careful plans for justice. Now that it was accomplished, he felt strangely adrift. His company was thriving, his financial future secure, but his personal life remained a blank page. He parked in the driveway of his father's house and sat for a moment, looking at the familiar structure. He had hired contractors recently to repair the roof and update the electrical system, but otherwise it kept it largely as his father had left it. As Noah approached the front door, he noticed a car parked across the street, a silver sedan he didn't recognize. Something about it put him on alert. He unlocked the door cautiously and stepped inside, listening for any unusual sounds. The house was quiet, but a faint scent hung in the air, an unfamiliar perfume. "Hello," Noah called, setting down his briefcase. Movement in the living room caught his attention. A woman rose from his father's armchair, tall, slender, with silver-streaked dark hair cut in a sharp bob. Though it had been over 20 years, Noah recognized her immediately. "Hello, Noah," she said. "Mother," he replied, his voice flat. "How did you get in?" Lorna Whitaker held up a key. "I never gave it back when I left. Your father never changed the locks." Noah extended his hand. "I'll take that." She handed over the key without protest, studying him with cool, appraising eyes. "You look like him now. What are you doing here?" "I heard what happened," Lorna said. "It's all over the news back home. Local teacher exposes laundering scheme, brings down fitness empire." Quite the headline. "That doesn't explain why you're in my house after 20 years of silence." Lorna moved to the window, looking out at the street beyond. "Curiosity, I suppose. Wanted to see what kind of man my son became. And now you have," Noah said. "Is there anything else?" "You're angry," she observed. "You have every right to be." "I'm not angry," Noah corrected her. "I'm indifferent. There's a difference." Lorna turned to face him. "What you did to the Thorne family, it was calculated, patient, strategic." A smile touched her lips. "You've become just like me." The comparison stung more than Noah expected. "No," he said firmly. "You left. I stayed. That's the difference." "I left because this life was suffocating me," Lorna said. "Your father was a good man, but limited, bound by convention and obligation. I needed more, and I was just collateral damage in your search for more." Lorna had the grace to look momentarily ashamed. "I made mistakes," she admitted. "Leaving you was the biggest. I should have fought for custody, taken you with me." "To do what? Follow you through a string of relationships? Move every time you got bored?" "I would have given you opportunities," Lorna insisted. "Connections. A broader perspective than this." She gestured around the modest house. "Provincial existence." Noah laughed without humor. You know nothing about my existence. I know more than you think, Lorna countered. I've followed your career from a distance. The educational software, the investments. Very impressive. I don't need your approval. No, you never did. Lorna picked up her purse from beside the chair. I'm in town for a few days. Perhaps we could have dinner? Catch up properly. Noah studied his mother, still beautiful in her way, still carrying herself with the confidence that had once intimidated and fascinated him as a child. But now he saw something else in her eyes, a hint of loneliness, of regret. Why now, he asked. After all these years? Because life is short, she replied. And because I'm proud of you. What you did took courage. It wasn't courage, Noah said. It was justice. Call it what you will. The result is the same. Lorna moved toward the door. Think about dinner. I'm at the Riverside Hotel, room 412. Noah made no response. He simply held the door open for her to leave. One last thing, Lorna said, pausing on the threshold. Your father, did he ever forgive me? No, Noah said honestly. He never did. Lorna nodded, unsurprised. And you? Will you ever forgive me? I don't know, Noah admitted. That's not a decision I need to make today. Fair enough. Lorna stepped outside. Goodbye, Noah. Goodbye, Mother. Noah closed the door behind her and leaned against it, emotions he had long suppressed threatening to surface. He took several deep breaths, then pushed away from the door and went to the kitchen. He opened his father's old roll-top desk in the corner and took out the worn leather journal William Whitaker had kept for decades. Noah had read it many times over the years, finding comfort in his father's steady handwriting and practical wisdom. He turned to a page marked with a faded ribbon. A man is defined not by the injuries he suffers, but by how he heals from them. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom from the past. But it must be earned, not merely requested. Noah closed the journal and replaced it in the desk. Then he took out his phone and called Zadie. Hey, stranger, she answered warmly. How are the divorce papers? Signed and filed, Noah told her. But that's not why I'm calling. My mother showed up today. Holy shit, Zadie breathed. After all this time? What did she want? To reconnect, apparently. She invited me to dinner. Are you going? Noah looked around the kitchen, his father's kitchen. Now his. I haven't decided. What does your gut tell you? That I need to face this, Noah admitted. One way or another. Then do it, Zadie advised. You confronted Marla. You confronted Derek. Maybe it's time to confront your past, too. Maybe. Noah sighed. How are the wedding plans coming? Chaotic, Zadie laughed. But good chaos. Michael wants you to be his best man, by the way. He's too nervous to ask himself. Me? We've only known each other a year. And in that year, you've become one of his closest friends. Just say yes. Noah smiled despite himself. Yes, of course. Good. Dinner tomorrow? The three of us. Actually, Noah said, making a sudden decision, I might be having dinner with my mother tomorrow. Can we make it the day after? Absolutely, Zadie said, surprise evident in her voice. And Noah? I'm proud of you. After hanging up, Noah went to the basement not to hide, as Marla had always accused, but to remember. He ran his hand along his father's workbench, feeling the worn wood smooth beneath his palm. The safe remained in its hidden location, though now it contained different treasures, legal documents for his company, the original code for his educational software, a few family photographs he'd salvaged from old albums. Noah opened it and took out his father's tape recorder and the cassette. He no longer needed to listen to it. He had memorized every word, but he kept it as a reminder of where he had come from and how far he had traveled. I did it, Dad, he said softly to the empty room. I never let them forget who I am. Then he returned the tape to the safe, closed it securely, and went upstairs to begin the next chapter of his life. The autumn leaves crunched beneath Noah's shoes as he walked through the park, hands tucked into the pockets of his coat. Beside him, Zadie chattered enthusiastically about honeymoon destinations while Michael listened with amused patience. I'm thinking Thailand, she was saying, or maybe New Zealand, somewhere with both beaches and adventures. You hate beaches, Michael reminded her. You burn in 5 minutes and complain about sand getting everywhere. Details, Zadie waved dismissively. Noah, back me up here. Beaches are worth the suffering, right? Don't drag me into this. Noah laughed. My last vacation was a weekend in Chicago 3 years ago. That's sad, Zadie declared. We need to fix that. Group trip after the wedding. They reached a small cafe nestled at the edge of the park, their regular meeting spot for Sunday brunch. A server greeted them warmly and led them to their usual table by the window. Before I forget, Michael said as they settled in, I heard from a contact at the U.S. Attorney's office yesterday. Derek took a plea deal. Noah looked up from the menu. What are the terms? 12 years, eligible for parole in 8. Full cooperation against his suppliers. Substantial fines. And Marla? Noah asked. Probation. Community service. A suspended sentence contingent on her testimony. Michael studied Noah's reaction. Are you okay with that? Noah considered the question. Yes, he said finally. She was a participant, but not the mastermind. The punishment fits. Zadie squeezed his hand. You're a better person than I am. I'd want her in prison too. Prison wouldn't serve any purpose, Noah said. She's lost everything that matters to her. Her status, her family connections, her lifestyle. That's punishment enough. Their food arrived, temporarily pausing the conversation. As they ate, Noah thought about how his life had changed in the past 6 months. The company was thriving. The school district pilot program had expanded to 27 schools across 3 states. He had hired 15 new employees and moved to larger offices downtown. His personal life had seen changes too. He had met with his mother 3 times before she returned to Arizona. Their relationship remained tentative, weighted by history, but a door had been opened. They exchanged occasional emails, now nothing deep or revealing, but communication nonetheless. Earth to Noah, Zadie's voice broke into his thoughts. You're a million miles away. Sorry, he smiled. Just thinking about everything that's happened. Regrets? Michael asked perceptively. No, Noah said. Reflections. After brunch, they walked back through the park. Michael and Zadie walked slightly ahead, hands intertwined, while Noah followed at a relaxed pace. His phone chimed with an email notification. He paused to check a message from Dr. Jenna Larson at Cognitive Loop. Great news. Harvard University wants to implement our adaptive learning system campus-wide. This could be the breakthrough into higher education we've been working toward. Can you meet tomorrow to discuss? Noah smiled as he typed his reply. Absolutely. This is exactly the direction we should be moving. See you at 10. He pocketed his phone and hurried to catch up with his friends. Good news, Zadie asked, noting his expression. Very good news, Noah confirmed. A major university wants our learning system. That's fantastic. Michael clapped him on the shoulder. We should celebrate. Dinner at our place tonight? I'd like that. Noah said. As they continued walking, Noah's thoughts returned to his father, what he would think of everything that had happened, of the man Noah had become. He liked to believe his father would be proud, not just of the business success, but of the integrity with which Noah had faced his challenges. Later that evening, sitting in Michael and Zadie's comfortable apartment, Noah raised his glass for a toast. To justice, he said, and to new beginnings. To new beginnings, they echoed. After dinner, as conversation flowed easily around him, Noah felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. The journey had been long and at times painful, but he had emerged stronger, wiser, and surrounded by people who genuinely cared for him. He thought of something his father had written in his journal. Victory isn't measured by what you gain, but by who you become in the process. That be why that measure. Noah had won completely.